Once Trump started hitting back at you on a number of fronts, he took aim at your weight. What was your reaction to that?
Oh, well, like he's some Adonis? I mean, please.
But it sounds like you're trying to save the Republican Party.
Well, look, I believe the Republican Party has been losing now for nearly 7 years. After Donald Trump's win in 2016, which I was a large part of, we haven't been able to win anything since then.
Look how angry he is. Every time he talks, he's angry.
President Trump responsible for the insurrection on the Capitol?
I don't think the speech he gave that day caused what happened. I think everything that he was saying from election night forward incited people to that level of anger.
I mean, that makes it worse. That's worse than one speech.
Well, that's my point. My point is that I think people minimize what happened on the 6th by pointing to the speech that he gave on the ellipse on the 6th.
It sounds to me like you're saying he was responsible for it.
What I'm saying is that you can never be wholly responsible for the conduct of other people. And each one of those individual people are responsible for what they did.
But would they have done that if they had not heard from their candidate, the president, that it was a bunch of, that it was rigged?
I don't think they would have gone there if they thought the election had been fair.
What Christie said is totally true, right? And I've been saying that all along. It's not just the speech. That speech by itself is relatively unremarkable. It's a typical Trump speech about I was robbed, I'm crying. Why don't you just go, hurt and attack the people that are against me? But he says that in every speech, right? No, it was the entirety of what Trump had done about lying to them that the election was stolen and that they had to do something to protect the country, etc. That fomented that. Anyone who says it wasn't Trump, it's absurd. How could we even debate that?
There are tens of millions of Americans out in your audience watching right now who, like me, have struggled with their weight. I continue to struggle. I continue to try to do better, and so do they. And what's that got to do with my competence for office? I ran the governorship of New Jersey for 8 years, I think in a very energetic, successful way. Responded to Hurricane Sandy, working 20 hours a day for weeks. I don't know what his point is. You know what it is? It's like a child. It's a bully on the schoolyard who teases you and makes fun of you. But here's my message to him. I don't care what he says about me, and I don't care what he thinks about me. And he should take a look in the mirror every once in a while. Maybe he dropped the weight thing off of his list of criticisms.
I think after a while of Christie fighting back and DeSantis not fighting back, like aggressively and obviously, some of the Republican voters that are looking for an alternative are going to be like, well, I don't know that I love all the things he's saying about Trump, but at least he's got some, at least he's got some guts. And so I think, he's on to something, and it's way, way better than what Haley or Tim Scott or Pence are doing, which is just floating on it. They're like Sandra Bullock, that space movie. They're just floating out in space doing nothing.
After Donald Trump's win in 2016, which I was a large part of, we haven't been able to win anything since then. Lost the House in 2018, lost the Senate and the White House in 2020, those Georgia Senate seats in early 21, and we horribly underperformed in 2022. Lost governorships, lost the Senate seat, and barely won the House of Representatives when everyone thought we'd be at 240 or 250 seats.
Red wave.
So we're tired of losing, and look, if the person at the top gets all the credit when things go well, they also must be accountable for what happens when things go badly. And the fact is that Donald Trump, the candidates he picked in these individual states and endorsed, all lost. And it lost big races.
Christie is polling at somewhere between 0 and 2%. So de minimis, almost nothing, right? But yet, he's all over all of media. So now I call both right-wing media and mainstream media combined corporate media, right? Because they play good cop, bad cop with us, right? So all of a sudden, he's on CNN and Fox News and ABC and right-wing media, right? So all of corporate media has decided, we don't really care where he's polling, and we don't really care if he has any chance to win at all. We like the message this guy is putting out there. Why? Because they've decided they don't want Trump.
Like, this isn't an angry game. Sometimes you got to be mad. Sometimes people make me mad, and you've seen video of me. I don't hold back, okay? But if there's that much anger, when he displays it, it's never about what's being done to the country. It's never about what you talked about. about how much things are costing you and how you can make ends meet. It's not about that inner city kids aren't getting a great education. It's not about that there's crime over the streets. It's about what's been done to him. Poor me, victim me.
He started to do a good job there where he says he's just going to be focused on settling his scores. He doesn't think about the country, or he doesn't think about you. He doesn't think about the country. He thinks about himself. But he didn't focus enough on that. He pitched Donald Trump as a guy who's angry and wants to settle scores, but he seems to have forgotten that the vast majority of Republican voters like that about Donald Trump because they've been deluded in thinking that Donald Trump is rightfully angry. He's been targeted by the deep state for literally years. He should be settling his scores because there's so many elites coming after him. You need to also diffuse that. And I think that there are a couple of ways that Chris Christie could have done that, could do that in the future to really improve that answer.